rhombus to come have a seat in the middle here. It's important that he's kind of in the middle of everything. Always bringing the drink. I'm just going to take a before picture. Okay, good. So, you know, we heard a lot of people speak last night. We heard a lot of nice words at the ceremony today, which was beautiful. But this will be different from that. So Matt and I put a bunch of time into this. You know, Matt lives in LA, I live in DC, so it's like cross-country coordinating. And we figured that a visual prop is always more powerful. So we searched very, you know, deeply throughout our treasure trove of pictures and whatnot, and we found something decent. So we will unveil something, and it's more than a picture. Actually, it's kind of a work of art in my mind. So you know, we were thinking names for it because you have to name art. So the first one we came up with was the Pulliam, right? Because that's you. But that was kind of boring, so we abandoned that. And then I suggested the sexy, you know, because you got curves in all the right places. But we abandoned that too because, you know, it wasn't great. So we settled on what I think was the best. So we'd like to present to you what we like to call the nerd. So, this might have been a little open. There's people behind you. Flip it back there. Everybody sees that. So you got that. Pick another one. Matt, do you want to get the other piece of the puzzle? So that actually we figured we didn't know how big the room was going to be because, you know, there's a lot of people here tonight. So this is actually Matt's doing. So he, in his infinite ability to plan, came up with one better than the nerd. Matt came up with the big nerd. So just so everybody in the back can see. No, that's fine. Yeah, but it's bigger, so the big nerd. All right, so we'll keep that hanging next to you, and you hold that, so it's two of them. So look, we're going to take a couple minutes. Matt and myself are some of Mike's older friends. We go back quite a long time. And you know, throughout the wedding process and throughout these few days we've been here, I've noticed that you and Rachel have a lot of different friends, a lot of different groups. You know, obviously we have the police officers, the ladies, you know, a lot of different groups, but we kind of go back the furthest. So I think, and he kind of, Mike tends to keep his worlds a little bit separate. So I get the sense that maybe, you know, the current friends don't know the historical stories which are important. So what we did is we kind of thought about some stories. We picked the ones that are the best and yet still appropriate, since the Pulliams are here, right? And it's probably Jan's on the video camera, so I got to be appropriate. So we're just going to take you, you know, through some of the older years. So I think Matt's gonna go first with one of those.
Thank you. Hello, Michael. Mike and I go way back. They moved to Maryland, I believe you were in 5th grade. I was in 6th grade. My first interaction with you, I walked over with a friend, and we heard about this new guy in town. We walked over, and the Pulliams answered, "Said, is your son home?" "Yes." And out of the back, out of the woodwork, Mike comes forward, grasping a Garfield comic book. I probably should have known what I was getting into then. This is going to be sort of a self-incriminating part of my speech because I'm going to go into all the nerdy things that Mike and I did in our younger years. Magic the Gathering. Yes. A fantasy tabletop game called Warhammer. The obvious things, Super Nintendo. You might say that we didn't talk to a lot of girls early on. We've evolved. So what I'm going to tell you is a story about before the girls. And like any young adolescent male, you tend to go and steer towards magazines that probably aren't appropriate. Mike, when you figure out the story, you can maybe give me a nod. So, I believe the transaction went down in the woods behind Jason Panjashahi's house. Some cash, maybe some Magic the Gathering cards, were exchanged for probably our first Playboy. It was held in the top right drawer of my desk with Mom and Dad, who are here. It was a drawer that would lock. Pretty safe bet. All was fine. We would bring it around and you kind of like laugh and giggle. You're in 6th, 7th grade. And this one day, we take it over to a friend's house where we are doing our nerdy things, and it's in my duffel bag. And we just so happened to get caught with said magazine at John Roberts' house, if you do recall. Here's the genius, by the way, any parents who are here looking for ideas. He didn't tell our parents. The solution here was, I'm not going to tell your parents, but I have this house, and it's our other house, and no one has done landscaping on it the entire summer. So we're going to basically use you as indentured servants. I'm not kidding you, the grass in the front yard was up to my knees. And it was huge. It was probably at least like an acre or two. So this is probably one of my earliest, fondest memories of getting in trouble with Mike that is still a bit PG. And that was a long, sweaty process of weeding and mowing and all kinds of things that I just carried. So,
How's your magazine?
I said that. It was kept in my drawer. It was kept in my drawer. Anywho, so that's my story. Michael Ciato is going to continue on here.
Hello. So my favorite story, and this is actually my favorite story, whether it's appropriate or not appropriate, it happens to be appropriate, but it's my favorite of everything. And I entitled it The Car Chase. And you can nod when you know what I'm talking about, right? And this, just keep in mind what this man's profession is now, as I kind of go through the series of facts here. So Mike had just gotten his license. He was just about 16, I think. And Matt and I, we had been driving for about a year. So, Mike wanted to go out and kind of drive around. No real destination in mind, but just drive, windows down, that type of thing. So we're driving through a neighborhood, and we came upon like a house party type of thing. There was a bunch of people in the front yard. It was obviously a party. And we knew the house. We knew the kids were a bit older than us. And they were kind of known as the kids you didn't really, you didn't mess with if you didn't know them kind of thing. And Mike got nervous about that. But there was no way we were just going to bust a U-turn. It would be really obvious and we were just avoiding the place. So, he gave Matt and I strict instructions. Don't do anything. Be quiet. I'm going to drive by, keep cool. Keep cool. I said, okay, yeah, just drive by. So we were driving by, just coasting about 10 miles an hour or so. And we're right smack in front of the house. And I put the bird out the window. And I believe I verbalized the message as well. And they took immediate notice of this. And Mike didn't know what to do. He thought this was it. I mean, he just started driving. He thought, this might be his last day on the planet. And so they all immediately jumped into their cars. I mean, they flocked into their cars. And we had a head start. I mean, it still bothers me about the facts here. So we had like a head start. We're in the car, we're driving. They had to get in the car and drive. Not but 10 seconds later, we had headlights behind us, chasing us clearly. And Mike, I'd never seen him so scared. I've still never seen him so scared. He was bugging out. It was a combination of punching, I was in the passenger seat, he was punching my thigh, saying, why would you do this kind of thing? But at the same time, he's doing this evasive driving from the front, and he's trying to take hard turns, but he just learned to drive, so they're following him. And we were pretty nervous too, so he's screaming at me, he's like, call 911, call 911. And I guess I'm kind of scared too, because they're not just tailing us for a couple, minutes and then leaving. We're 10 minutes into it. He's a combination of punching and screaming at me and everything. So I call 911, and they answer, and I feel like a fool because what's wrong? I said, well, we're driving and someone's following us. And, so I tried to get a car to meet us or to intercept the whole situation at a particular intersection, which is difficult because we were just learning the roads. But anyways, so we're about halfway through the call, and we actually saw a cop car parked on the side of the road. And we thought that this was them. We thought, wow, that's a great response. So Mike Pulliam pulls off the road, almost hits the cop car, but he's so thrilled to see now one of his own, but a man of protection. So we pull over, and then the other guys zoom by, right, because they saw that there was a cop there. So we get out of the car, and we go to the officer, and at this point we're like, thank you, thank you, thank you. It was an empty cop car. So this was not the guy sent to save us. This was, I don't know what this was. This was an empty cop car. It was like an old speed trap that was no longer functioning. But anyways, we lost the guys, so we turned around, and I don't really have the best memory of the ride home. I was trying to put it together, and I didn't want to just make up anything just to make it up. So I really don't remember too much, but I think it was pretty quiet. But here's what I do remember. I do remember pulling back into the Pulliam's driveway. And I do remember, I think your dad or your mom, or maybe both, were in the garage when we pulled in the driveway. And you opened the door, I think you were overcome by emotion. Safety, and we're back. You opened the door, bawling your eyes out, crying. I know, it's sad. Bawling your eyes out, crying, and then I think you ran inside. I don't know, I'm pretty sure it was because you needed to use the restroom as well. So my question to you today, as you sit here and given all the facts and your professional knowledge and everything, is after your car chases today, do you also cry and poop?